Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Chasing Sound Live, episode number 7. Really glad that you're checking this out. Really happy to be back. As you can see, finally took me only 7 to actually, get a guitar on for one of these. But that's something we're going to be talking about in a little bit. But yeah, really happy to have you here. I am streaming to you guys on my new iPhone 13 Pro Max. Camera looks really good, maybe too good, on some of the details. But no, really happy to be streaming with you guys. I was doing a lot of work today because it's Saturday and just getting things ready and getting the phone ready with the camera, setting up new scenes in Ecamm Live to be ready for this, and it was cool. I was learning new things, and it just kind of intrigued me, and made me want to use some of the stuff that I already have for my setup. I use a lot of Rogue Amoeba apps. I was telling you about that, a couple episodes ago, and right now I'm using Loopback to get both my voice and a little bit of guitar. So a little bit of guitar going on. So hopefully you can hear that. If you are in the chat, please let me know if you can hear me. I'm going through my Fractal AX8 today. I'm using a really cool preset from this guy, Marco Fantone, who is also on YouTube. Go check him out. He makes presets for all the cool stuff. I'm using a Friedman HBE model, which is super fun. And like I said, that's kind of going into Loopback, where I have my Rode Podcaster, which I'm talking on, and my guitar going right into my Focusrite interface. So hoping it works the entire stream. We'll see. But we got so much to talk about today. Like I said, going to be playing a little bit guitar. I got to figure out, the camera here and how it's looking. Maybe I'll get a secondary camera that, just focuses on the neck at some point. But not yet. So we're just getting started. Bear with me. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about. There's all sorts of new things I want to tell you about, and I also want to recommend an album to you. I want to show you about a new app I've been using. And we're also going to talk about stuff that was on last week's Six String Sunday newsletter, some stuff that's coming out tomorrow. And then the main part of the show, kind of somewhere in the middle here, we're going to talk about learning the fretboard, which is why I have my guitar on here. Been taking a lot of different lessons lately online, and I want to share, some of the best stuff that I've learned from these guys that have been teaching me. So again, thank you so much for joining. So I mentioned some lessons. I have been actually still working on the Chris Brooks book for alternate picking. And the reason that I bring it up again is just because it's so good. It's a real challenge for me. Alternate picking is, not too crazy, it's just down and up, but getting from string to string, building up speed and all that is really sometimes difficult. And I think, if you put in the practice, you will get there. And that's, what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to dedicate so many hours to building up left-hand strength, because I feel like for me, my fretting hand is where I'm lacking. I have the strength in the right hand. I can do whatever motions I need, but in the left hand, not so much. But the reason that I bring up the new book from Chris Brooks is because he also released a extra of it. And let me show you here how it looks. There's a cool new extra that he released. So this is his new video expansion pack. You still need to get the book, but it's a 2.5 hour expansion pack, and I've been already ripping through this over the weekend in the last day or two, and it's really good. All the stuff is on Gumroad, which is where he's selling this, and you can check it out there. It lets you see video versions of a lot of the stuff he talks about in the books. And, typically I probably wouldn't buy this. I think I would just go with the book, maybe some of the audio examples, but this is really awesome because it shows, Chris really how he's picking, kind of similar to somebody like Troy Grady, a lot of close-up of his left and right hand and what he's doing. And I just like seeing some of the examples. You can get all the audio for this type of book, comes with the book when you buy it. But this is a really cool expansion pack. So go check it out. If you want to work on alternate picking, or if you feel like you're not fast enough on the guitar, try to change that today. Maybe, get something new going on for what you're doing. Maybe you've been picking with down and up strokes, but it's kind of inconsistent. Dedicate some of that stuff today. I've been playing guitar for over 20 years, and I'm still doing it today. Just trying to hone in on my skills, because, I feel like for a long time I was playing in bands, but practicing. Sometimes you practice for a long time, and then you take some time off and just play a bunch. And that's what happened to me, and I think that's what happens to a lot of people too. So the Chris Brooks lessons are awesome. I have about 4 of his books right now, and I can definitely say that they're all very cool. The next thing I've been checking out is actually a course from Ariel Posen. I kind of mentioned it a little bit last week, or last live stream, and this is it. It's actually on Mary Spender's platform, because Mary Spender got Ariel together to do this. As you can see, I'm about a little bit over halfway through the course so far. It's really, really cool. There's all this stuff like fundamentals of harmony, intro to the blues, guitar motivation. There's actually, I haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm going to hopefully get to it today. Fundamentals of slide, a slide masterclass from Ariel, and there's a masterclass on the Nashville number system, and then there's a huge, almost an hour probably it looks like, of just Ariel and Mary talking about songwriting. And I like this course because it's pretty cool. You have Ariel talking about some of the concepts in each chapter, and then Mary kind of wraps it up towards the end, and giving her thoughts about what she learned and what she thinks she has to do to improve her own playing. It's really cool. There's not a lot of riffs or licks or techniques in here. Well, not riffs and licks really, but there's a lot of good knowledge. I think it was like $99, so it's not cheap, but for the amount of stuff that's in there, I feel like it's like a good guitar lesson, or a good 2 guitar lessons, which are typically, $50 or so. That might just be, saying to myself to rationalize it for the money I spent, but I really, really do like it. I think it's really cool, and I think you should go check it out. If you're looking for really, really good knowledge, again, even after playing for such a long time, I learned a lot of things. I'm working on a lot of chord tones. I'm working on like a lot of triad stuff in the app Solo and elsewhere. And this really, really helped. Just his thought on targeting notes, and really just, getting into learning more of the notes and moving away from patterns. It's just a mindset shift that I think is really, really cool. So I have been doing that. Also, I have been getting into this band Turnstile. Funnily enough, I haven't really listened to them before this, but the album is getting so much press that over the last couple weeks, I hit it up. This is Turnstyles' Glow On album. This is their website. And, they're a hardcore band, which, might not be your thing, but this is really, really great stuff. The Glow On album has been out for like a couple weeks now. It's like a hardcore music, but it's like more happy hardcore, if that's the only way I can explain it. Some of the greatest, I can't stop playing this album. I've had it while I'm doing yard work. I've had it while I'm just hanging out, driving somewhere. I can't stop playing it. The production is incredible. I really, really like how it sounds. If you're looking for a new album that's a little heavy, but also, a little, I can't even explain it, but it's just very, very good stuff. The guitars are super heavy. The rhythms are really fun. You talk about songs that are fun to play, like AC/DC, or any of these songs that have like a really easy rhythm part. These parts are not all these parts are easy to play, but they're really, really fun to get under your fingers. So go check that out. The guitar players are also doing a lot of fun stuff in terms of production. I heard whammy on there. I heard delays and verbs and all sorts of stuff. It is awesome. I can't say enough good things about that album. It's Glow On from the band Turnstile. I've been recommending it to everybody that I know. Another thing I could recommend is this app, which has one of the funniest icons I've ever seen in my life. As you can see, it has a bunch of nice 4 and 5 star ratings. It's called Drum Genius. You might have heard about this. I think the app has been out for a really, really long time from what it's worth. Yeah, it's been out since 2012. I never got to this app, but I've been using it lately. And basically what it is for jazz, for mainly jazz and blues, but also some like bossa nova stuff, which is like some Brazilian stuff, some rock, some world music, odd time signatures. This is a really good app where it plays different drum loops, which is just phenomenal. I think it's good to play over backing tracks. I think that's really, really important. But for this, I think it's sometimes good to just play over drums and see where it takes you. See if you can hold your own and play over the changes, play the changes on your own while just playing over drum loops. And this is really cool. It has, if you buy like an unlimited credits pack, I think it has something like 500 loops, which is insane. You can find any sort of beat that you want to play. There's polyrhythms, there's odd time signatures if you want to play in something like 7 or other odd time signatures. But yeah, it's free to download. You get a couple credits just to check out some of the loops, and then you can buy 10 loops at a time for like $1 or so. It's not expensive, but I just went with all the loops because I know I'm going to be using this a lot. And the other thing it has in there is called Metro Genius, which is this thing over here. And the cool thing about that is you can I haven't tried it too much yet, but you can have a time signature and see how it would be laid out, and visually see the rhythm. So you have an idea if you do see that in some sort of sheet music, you'd kind of be ready for it. But yeah, just a really cool app where if you just want to jam over drums, it is very, very good. So a lot of stuff off the top there that I wanted to recommend, new albums, apps that you can check out, all sorts of stuff. And as I said, I've been getting back into practicing guitar a lot, more than ever. So I wanted to share some of the stuff that I really liked while playing, and while doing theory practice and some of the fundamentals of guitar. So yeah, like I said, I'm using my Charvel today. It's a little hard to see, but I'm going to try to get as much of the neck in the frame as possible. Also, it's sometimes about the little things when we talk about when practicing. It's so funny because I was talking about Sheet Happens on maybe the first or second of these live streams, and they sent a couple pics. I don't know if you can see this here. Oh, there you go. Awesome. So the Sheet Happens Tortex, and I think they're like the bigger size of the Jazz 3s. And, I use Red Bear picks quite a bit. I use some of the bigger Tortex picks, but I have been loving these picks lately. I've been using them like crazy because I like the thickness of it. It's pretty rigid, and it's just the right size to fit in my fingers where I have really good control over it, and I don't have like more pick than I need. So it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, so talking about guitar and everything going on here, we're talking about learning the fretboard. So I've gotten stuff from guys like Ben Eller, who, if you don't subscribe to him on Patreon or on YouTube, go do that right away. His lessons are fantastic. For like $1 on Patreon, you can get a lot of good stuff from him. And stuff like this course from Ariel Posen and Mary Spender have just been having me think about, practicing guitar again, and what type of practice do I want to do, and what do I want to spend time on. And, similar to a book, I always say it's similar to a book like The Advancing Guitarist, which is maybe like, let's say like 100 pages. Man, you can practice that book for years and not be done with it officially. It's a really, really good book, and I feel like that's how the Ariel course is, where he gives you ideas, but if you don't put in the work, it's just not going to happen. So let's talk about the fretboard. I want to give you a couple things that I've learned from, again, throughout the internet that I think are really, really helpful. So the biggest things are, talking about learning notes. I mean, trying to move away from shapes And, I'll be the first to admit that, I'm all about, playing A minor pentatonic, E minor pentatonic, and just running those shapes till I'm blue in the face. But if we're going to create really, really cool solos and leads, we got to think about dynamics. We got to think about all sorts of things, trying to build up a solo, not just be all over the neck. And, trying to target notes. It's really important to know our triads. And that's why I think it's so important to practice triad stuff every day. So if we're starting in G, and we just go 1 3 5, and then we keep on doing the inversion. So like G B D, B D G, and then so on, and then do 5 1 3 and so on. I think that's really important because it doesn't limit you to playing all in one box of your guitar. You're not stuck in the box as so many people say they are. And that's important to know. It's important to know where G is all over the neck. So a lot of people get confused. They say, I'm really good down here from 1st fret to 5th fret, maybe even the 7th fret. But, when I get all the way up here, when I get, past the 12th fret or somewhere around the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th fret, in some of the middle strings, I get lost. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about making it easier for ourselves. First thing is, there's 6 strings. I know it's an easy concept, but we get a bye. It's like almost like 5 strings, because if you learn everything on the low E, and let's be honest, if you've been playing guitar for any amount of time and know the notes on the low E, you know all the notes on the high E. So you only have 4 other strings to learn, the A, D, G, and B strings. So yeah, if you know it on the low E, you know it on the high E. Second thing would be, not being afraid of the notes outside of the dots on the fretboard. So, if we're here at the 3rd fret is obviously a C. The good thing about that is if you understand that this is a C, you obviously know that a half step up would be C sharp and a half step down would be a B. I think it's really important to think of a piano and know where the half steps are. So from E to F and from B to C. So on the guitar fretboard also where to go. There's only one way to make a major scale, only one way to make a minor scale. So knowing that, whether you're going a whole step from like C to D, or, just a half step from B to C, that's important to know. So if you know your 2 half steps and where they are on the guitar, that's helpful. I think another thing that's important to learn is the circle of fifths. And not even if you just use the circle of fifths itself, but if you at least understand where the sharps and flats are of the guitar. And there's actually a video I'm going to share in a little bit when we take a look at some of the stuff in the newsletter. But I always like to start from C major, because I feel like that's my home base scale where I can just learn. I can base it off different things. Am I trying to do something like Mixolydian? What does that look like when I'm playing, C major? I think that's important. Get your home base, understanding the sharps and flats. So we mentioned that. We mentioned the low and high E. We mentioned that if you are in this zone, like let's say we're all the way up here on the 12th fret of the A string, which is also A. So if you take 2 steps back, you're going to have a G. And again, that's why it's so important to understand, just a simple A, B, C, D, E, F, G of the guitar. So if you're like, man, what the heck is the 10th fret? Try to see other frets that around it, which of course, would be 12th fret, which is just 2 frets up, and you would know where G is. Another way, for instance, some people might get confused on something like the 5th fret of the D string. There's a cool trick that you can do. I'm sure you might have seen this. It's the octave trick. So if you're on the E string and you're playing the 3rd fret, well, the 2 frets up and 2 strings up would be the same note. So you got G on the 3rd fret of the E string, and then you've got G on the 5th fret of the D. and it's movable. It's a movable shape. That's the great thing about guitar is if you go up to A, 5th fret, and then you do the 7th fret, again, 2 frets up, 2 frets, 2 strings up, you have A again. The same thing works on the A string. So here is C, 3rd fret on the A string. Here's the 5th fret, 2 strings up, 2 frets over. There's C again. So that basically works everywhere on the E and A. Now with the D and the G strings, it's a little bit different. It's still 2 strings up, but it's 1 extra fret. So let's say, we already found out that this was a G. Now we're saying this is a G also, the 5th fret of the D string. And let's say we want to figure out where the G is on the B string. You just move 3 frets up, and there it is, the 8th fret of the B string. Same thing here, 12th fret, 15th fret, both G's. So that happens on the D string and the G string. Those are just 3 frets up from where you are. So yeah, I mean, those are a couple things. The octave trick is helpful. The knowing that you have 2 E strings, of course, and that makes it a little bit easier on you. Knowing that if you're in the middle of the fretboard, let's try a weird one, right? Let's say 6th fret of the D string, right? So here we are. If you really want to know what that is, let's just go up to a note we might be familiar with, which is the 7th fret on the D string, which if we use the octave trick, we know is A. So this would be A flat, and that's it. I mean, that's one of the the more easy ways to learn it. Again, people also get worried about not knowing where they are all the way up on the top of the fretboard. What I like to do is I like to think of it as the fretboard basically starts over again. So you have all your open strings, and then your 12th fret is basically your open strings again. So when you're at the 13th fret here, it's basically like being on the 1st fret. I know a lot of this stuff sounds basic, but I think a lot of it is really helpful. You have the secondary fretboard up here. If you're up here on the 15th fret, so 15th fret of your low E, that's basically like being on the 3rd fret of your low E, which is a G, another place for a G. So that's the thing. Let's talk about what we said so far. If you get confused in the upper range of the fretboard, you can always consider it a secondary, like you're starting all over. You have 2 E's, the low E, the high E. So you only have 5 strings to learn, really. You don't have all 6, because if you learn anything on the low E, and so many people do, you already learn everything on the high E. If you're somewhere in the middle of the fretboard, or you're navigating somewhere on the fretboard where you're not familiar with, try to see a note that you are familiar with. Again, if this is something like D, and you want to know what this is here, it's C. And if you want to know how to get to C back again on the low E, just use our octave trick, which is 2 frets over, 2 strings down or up based on where you are on those E and A strings. So hopefully a lot of good tips. That's how I'm kind of navigating the fretboard. And trust me, I have a lot of work to do. But those are a couple of the tools that I use. And also, again, like I mentioned, if you really want to get crafty with it, if you really want to get good, this is what I'm working on a lot in regards to target notes and seeing target notes on the fretboard. It's still difficult, but to break out of those patterns. But try to play the single octave scales and try to do your inversions and your triads all over the fretboard. So again, if we're starting with GBD, see the next one. What would the next one be for that? It would be B, D, G. And again, here we are, 5th fret of the D string. What is that? Using the octave trick, it's G. So there's a lot of tools to use there. I hope you use them. I would like to know, if you're watching, or if you're in the comments later on, if you're watching this, what are you using? What are your favorite tricks to learn the fretboard? Like I said, I've been doing so much work with it lately that it's been a lot of fun to get back and really challenge myself. And if you want to do that automatically, one of the things that we mentioned a long time ago on one of the first podcasts was using the solo app. The solo app to get your changes going, mix your inversions up by letting solo do it for you, and just kind of quiz you on intervallic functions and everything like that. So that's a little bit more further down the line. If you want to do it on your own, use some of the things that I mentioned, and you should be good. So that's it. That's learning the fretboard for me. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I would love to answer them for you. I'd love to chat with you there, or if you want to jump into our Discord, just go to chasingsound.com, which you can find right over there. Chasingsound.com not only has a link to our Discord, but also has lots of different posts, has our newsletter that I do every Sunday, which has been going out for a couple years now. Really, really happy, really proud of that. Has a bunch of lessons on there. And just, anything cool that I'm doing in the guitar world is over there. So head to chasingsound.com or get me on social media. I'm Chasing Sound everywhere. And my email is brian@chasingsound.com. All right. So we talked about the fretboard. We talked about new albums. We talked about new apps and all that stuff. Let's talk about some of my favorite stuff from the newsletter last week. And then we'll talk about some of my favorite stuff from the newsletter that's going to go out tomorrow. So first thing is this guitar player, Isaiah Sharkey. He joined Sweetwater here. We're talking about getting really, really cool leads. Man, you got to check this video out. I think it's like 7 minutes long, and he uses I think it was just 2 riffs. And he talks about making your blues sing by using bends. And it sounds super, super simple. But the way he does it, it sounds fantastic. You got to go check out his playing. He's such a great player. Isaiah Sharkey, playing a really, really nice looking guitar there too. And it sounds awesome. So go check it out. Sweetwater's been killing it with the videos lately. They've been doing so good with all the things they have. So Isaiah Sharkey, if you want to get your leads to sound more vocal, he does a whole lesson on bending, and he compares it to being more, very rigid with your playing and not using any of that type of stuff. So use bends, use slides, and you can really make a big difference. Another video I loved from last week was this one from Rhett Shull, 10 classic riffs that will make you a better player. Lists are such a big thing on the internet. You either love them or you hate them. But this was actually a really, really good one. It had a lot of players that you might already know. It had bands like Zeppelin. It had bands like The Police, Dire Straits, and it even had some new classics like from Rage Against the Machine. So the cool thing about this, the title of this video is really, really true. If you practice these 10 riffs or any number of riffs, they will definitely make you a better player for various reasons. And we're talking about guitar lessons. This is one of the biggest ways that I like to teach guitar when I do teach, is I like to use actual music to teach. A lot of people will say, let's just run drills up and down the fretboard. That's fine, and that's important. We talked about the Chris Brooks book before. That's a tongue twister. But we talked about that book before, and that's important for getting endurance and speed. That stuff has its own time. Maybe you even want to do some of that stuff when you're watching TV. It's like working out for your hands. But if you want to become a better player and you want to learn new techniques or you want to learn new ideas melodically, I think learning some of these riffs and learning from a musical standpoint is awesome. So go check this video out from Rhett Shull. Really, really, really cool. And one of my favorite channels out there. Next up, one of my other favorite links from last week was that Fender is the first big guitar brand that is on TikTok. And I know that sounds dumb. It sounds like it's not big news, but it actually is. I mean, there's not much of an article here, but I did want to talk about it a little bit because, why is that a big deal? I was listening to a podcast the other day. I can't remember which one it was, but they were talking about how important TikTok is as a social media app right now. I think it's probably one of the big top, has to be top 3 at this point in the States here. Fender was doing it to announce their Player Plus series, which I've heard is fantastic. I've yet to play one, but if you have seen one, let me know. I would love to try it out in one of the stores. I've heard they are the best, strats and tellies and basses in that price range, and I believe it. From what I've been hearing, it looks really, really cool. But yeah, the thing about TikTok is, last month I did a song every day. I did a new riff every day in August. It was a lot of fun. I got a lot of new subscribers here. I got a lot of new subscribers on TikTok and on Instagram and so on. And like hundreds and hundreds of people watch those videos because they're very good at serving videos. Their algorithm is really good, and I think it's really cool. Similar to where YouTube was a bunch of years ago, and they kind of still are, with breaking new bands. I think TikTok has been doing that like crazy. It's funny, but if you play the game Fortnite and you check out some of their emotes, I would say so many of them lately over the last couple of years have come from TikTok songs, and bands are getting big on there. Maybe not rock bands, but still, I think it's an important place to be. And you see a couple guitarists creep up on there from time to time, just doing these videos because it's a lot of fun. It's not a whole lot of work. What I was doing was kind of the same setup I'm using here, where I was going into my interface. I like better guitar audio to be actually on my videos, but you could do anything, and I think it's a good challenge for you to try to keep on doing, keep on doing videos and see where it takes you. I think that's the biggest thing, and that's why I keep on doing these live videos. I know not a lot of people are showing up to the actual live stream, but we get a couple hits here and there on the YouTube, and it's a lot of fun. So we've been keeping on doing it. All right. The next thing I was checking out that last week that I thought was super cool, and this was actually in Guitar Player's physical print version, I saw this a little while back, was, we're still in a pandemic. There's still quarantine, kind of life kind of going on. So Guitar Player talked to a bunch of different guitar players, Alex Skolnick, Paul Gilbert, Marty Friedman, Richie Kotzen, all these different guys, and saw what their rigs were at home. And I thought it was really, really cool. Go check this video out. Here's Alex Skolnick's setup. It shows you, what type of recording stuff he has, what type of mics, and, why did he even choose this gear. You can see he has a pretty cool amp here, a couple Fender amps. He's miking it up. I can't tell what condenser mic he has there, but as you can see, he has, nothing too crazy even in the recording section. He has a laptop. He has a controller, looks by Alesis. Somebody like Richie Kotzen here is a little bit more of a step up. You have some preamps, some really nice preamps over here from like Neve in the top area, kind of like a lunchbox style. And then you could see, he has a really, really nice studio setup, kind of similar to somebody like a Pete Thorne. You have Paul Gilbert, who has a bunch of guitars and like a mini pedal board with some of his signature gear. Nothing too crazy, but this is where he does some of his reaction videos. He does reaction videos for Artist Works. If you're subscribed to them, really, really cool. I really love this post. It's just fun to see what other guitarists, big guys are using at home, and maybe you'll get some ideas for what you want to use also. That was a lot of fun. I love that thing. And speaking of a guy like Pete Thorne, we talk about him quite a bit. He has had this Sir PT100 plugin for a long time. I had not been using it because I didn't have any of the universal audio interface gear, which is really, really great stuff, by the way. If you're looking to get an interface, check out some of the UA stuff. But the big news about Pete Thorne's new thing is that his new Brainworks plugin is now native. So you can get it for Pro Tools, you can get it for Logic. It's not just on the UA store, anymore. You can get it in all sorts of different file formats, so you can use it in your DAW of choice. Go check out this video. It sounds really, really good. If you're looking to do something similar to what I'm doing today, and you want to play through a really good amp modeler, a really good amp model. This is his Sir amp, but in plug-in form. And man, it sounds really, really good. I was checking it out last week, and I thought it sounded incredible. And speaking of amps, we also have JHS last week. This is on September 17th, talking about why the Line 6 pod sounds really bad. So they're known to do a lot of these clickbaity titles for fun. But, what's crazy is, I have this in my attic, and I was just taking a look at it the other day. And, man, from what Josh does with the band here, it sounds really good still. I mean, not phenomenal. It doesn't sound like that Pete Thorne amp, but for the age of it and for it being one of the earliest digital modelers and one of the most popular for about 20 years, it still sounds really, really good. And now you have guys like Jonathan Cordy doing a demo of the Line 6 pod and the new Pod Go. Go check that video out as well. But take a look at this video at JHS's channel and just see how it still sounds. It sounds really good for it being a 20-year-old pedal. And I think it's a really good practice tool. I think you could get a lot of recording done with it. When I was using the pod a lot, my secret was combining a lot of the amps on different multi-tracks to kind of fatten the sound up or make it sound a little bit better. I would take, like an AC30 and like maybe one of the heavier amps and just combine it, and it would be really, really good. So check that out. And I would like to know, what are you guys using? Are you using a modeler at all, or are you using, a regular amp mic'd up into an interface, the old school way, which is still really, really good and pushes air? Let me know in the comments what you're using, and I would love to talk to you about that. Like I said, over the years, I've been known to want to mic up cabs. I think it's really what sounds really good, especially if you're in a nice room and you have good mics, have good gear. You can get a lot done with it. But again, today I'm using my Fractal and not having a bad time with it. I think it sounds really good. And if you work with the sound a little bit, if you layer the sounds, if you're going to do a production, I think you could get a lot of great sounds out of this type of stuff, out of the modelers. Last week I was with a student and we were messing with the new his Line 6 modeler, which also competes against all the Fractal stuff, all the Kemper stuff, and it sounds really good. So, when people ask you, what should I get? Should I get a Line 6? Should I get a Kemper? Should I get a Fractal? Find out what works for you. There's so many videos now on YouTube of people demoing this stuff that it's really what you're going to do with it. Do you want a rack unit? Do you want a floor unit? Are you going to be playing gigs in the near future? Hopefully we all are, let's be honest. Hopefully we all are playing gigs in the near future. But yeah, so that's some of the stuff that I've been into lately. That was all from last week. And now we have a newsletter coming out tomorrow. I'm almost done with it. I'll probably be done with it a little bit later today. Let's talk about some of my favorite stuff from tomorrow. So, I'm heavy into practice. I'm all into trying to get better, especially lately with, like I said, learning more theory again and getting back to that rather than, just playing shapes. I like this channel called Song Notes. The guy is called David Potts. And what he does is I think what he does is he has all these different PDFs that he sells on his website for tips, guitar lessons, songs that he sells tabs and stuff for, which you can find on playsongnotes.com. And he has one for the cheat sheet for the key of C major. And I told you, that is my home base where you can learn theory off of. This video is 32 minutes long and is basically a video version of that PDF. And I think if you're just getting into theory, go check this video out. It's really, really good. It's on the Song Notes YouTube. Talks about all the different shapes, where you can find the intervals for the scales. And I told you how important that is. So I think this is a great video. I don't check out all his things because I'm not interested in learning all the songs this way. But I think this is one of his best videos that he's put out in a really, really long time. So if you want to learn about C major, you want to learn about the scales, the chords, here he's doing some stuff like walk downs and walk ups in the key of C, turnarounds and all that stuff. Go check it out. It's a really, really good video. Only half an hour of your time. Really cool. Moving to a totally different style of article here. This crazy car wagon from Fury Road, from Mad Max Fury Road, is going to be up for auction. I'm not sure if it already went up for auction, um, but if you've ever watched this movie, Mad Max Fury Road, it shoots real flames when you have when you play the guitar with the whammy bar. Um, I think it's this whole rig for what it's worth. I won't play this because it's from the movie, but go check it out on Guitar World site. This is basically what it looks like. This is what it looked like in the movie, at least. And you had some guy on there who had this guitar that shoots flames, tons and tons of speakers. I don't know how much it's going to be. It says it's going it's going up for auction on the 26th under Lloyd's Auctioneers and Valuers. Of course, I would never. I don't. Where would you park this thing, right? I think it looks crazy, but it looks like a lot of fun. Just to see, who buys this stuff. I guess if you love Mad Max and you have a ton of money, and you wanna put yourself in that movie, go check it out. Only got a couple more to go. Yeah, like 2 or 3. But yeah, this is another one of my favorites from tomorrow. And Steve Vai is doing a lot of tour videos lately because he is going on tour in the new year. And I think he's going on like something like a 4-month tour. So he's going to be out for a long time. But this is Steve Vai playing his song Frank, which is off the Ultrazone, one of my favorite Steve Vai albums in the world. It's so good. I remember seeing this band live, and they were phenomenal. And all that's great. I would love to see Steve on this tour. But the cool thing about it is that he's taking Dave Weiner back out on tour. And at Dave's Gitopia site, which is just gitopia.com, you can see him getting ready for this tour. He's done something like this before a long time ago, but he's changed it up a little bit this time with how he's getting ready. What is his pedal board going to be like? How's he learning the songs for Steve Vai again? That stuff just doesn't stay under your fingers, I would assume. And all sorts of things like that. So it's called, I believe it's called like Behind the Scenes with Dave. I think some of the trailers for it are on YouTube, but the real videos are on his Gitopia site, which is a paid site. Really good. He's been doing it for what seems like forever, and one of the best values in guitar teaching right now. If you have a couple of bucks, go subscribe to Dave's site. It's awesome. You get to be part of all the live chats. It's awesome. So not enough good things to say about Dave's Gitopia. And I hope he has a good tour. I hope I hope we're still doing tours by then, with all this COVID stuff going on. Then I wanted to talk about Dream Theater, but moreover, I wanted to talk about Evan Bradley. So the crazy thing is, Dream Theater came out with their new song Invisible Monster. It is awesome. I think it sounds really good. Reminds me of songs off of stuff like Awake or Images and Words. And there's even, there's a lot of new music out that, from Friday. But Evan Bradley is really awesome because the next day after Dream Theater's video came out, he did a full tab on the song, which is just wild. If you listen to somebody like Levi Clay, he does tabs all the time, but I've never seen somebody do a accurate Dream Theater tab, the next day for a Dream Theater song, and I looked into his website. So go subscribe to him on YouTube, but I looked into his website, and apparently he won this John Petrucci Match the Master contest, which I've never even heard of that. I've been a Dream Theater fan all my life. So the cool thing is that he was saying on his website that he, from then, decided to maybe, I think, quit his retail job and start doing transcribing full time. Evan, if that's not true, sorry, I'm making up a history for you here. But as you can see, if you go to transcription books, he transcribes some stuff for a lot of different metal bands, some stuff on, I think he's doing some stuff for Sheet Happens too. So really cool. I'm going to keep an eye on his website, and if I ever need anything transcribed, I'm going to definitely contact him. Go check him out, Evan Bradley, and if you want tabs for Dream Theater, go check out his channel on YouTube. You can contact him on his website, and he will send you the tab in not only PDF format but in Guitar Pro. And you know how much of a big fan of Guitar Pro I've been, a huge fan. So go check him out. Really nice guy, and just a really really good resource. I'm really excited that there's a couple good transcribers that we have out there that seem to be also guitar players, right? Like a Levi Clay. So this is really really cool. Happy to have met this guy, and I'm really happy to have checked out his channel. And then finally, we have just a kind of a funny story, but a couple years ago, Josh Klinghoffer was, I think it seems like a couple years ago, might have been a year or two ago now. John Frusciante said he was coming back to the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and that meant that Josh Klinghoffer had to leave the band. And he was with them for a couple albums, did tours, did writing with them. So he was a really good part of the band. Now, since he's had to leave Red Hot Chili Peppers, now he is part of Pearl Jam as their touring musician. I don't think he's going to be in the band, of course, because they have already long-standing guitarists. But the funny thing about this is that now Pearl Jam has 4 guitar players. Stone Gossard, Mike McCready, Eddie Vedder, of course, who plays guitar from time to time, and now Josh. So it's really, really cool. I'm not sure if he made his debut here in New Jersey with the band, but I know he did play at a festival in New Jersey with Pearl Jam, and now he's going to be touring with them quite a bit. So really, really cool, and I think that's really, really good for him, because I liked his stuff with Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think those were some of the really, really good albums with the band. So good for him. Glad to see him still in the scene, and let's see if he joins any other bands for writing as well. But that's it for me. I'm going to go work on the newsletter now and get that ready for tomorrow. And that's all the guitar stories I have. So a lot of guitar stories. Check out all the fretboard stuff that we talked about earlier in the stream. Come back to it if you're trying to get ideas for learning the fretboard. Feel free to hit me up in the comments if you have any questions. And I think that's it. I will see you in the newsletter tomorrow if you're subscribed. And if not, subscribe to me here on YouTube. We just hit over 100 subscribers in the last couple weeks, which is, I'm very happy about. That's very cool. I'm going to be putting out a lot more videos here on YouTube in addition to these live streams. So be subscribed so you know when new videos go live. There's going to be a lot of different content on here. Stuff like the live stream where I'm talking about different news stories, stuff where I'm getting into gear, lessons, and everything. I'm reinvigorated with happiness for the guitar lately. So, stick with me, and we'll see where this whole thing goes over the next couple of years. Excited to talk to you guys today, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.